Madison, thank you. All right, here now is Mandy Gunasekara, former EPA Chief of Staff. Mandy, good to see you. So are we overstating this? Is the EPA and these green energy policies going after American farmers?
Yes, absolutely they are. And American farmers should be on edge about this. Looking to see what's happening internationally is a preview of what the Biden administration will try to do. We've already seen high-ranking officials in the Biden administration talking about how they want to use the food shortage and high prices as an opportunity to implement their otherwise ridiculous and devastating green energy policies. But the reality is, Sean, that it's not climate change that farmers nor Americans should be worried about. It's the policies being pushed in the name of climate change that stand to do far much more damage.
Yeah, well, Mandy, I look at this and I'm like, I don't understand why they would implement these policies that probably aren't going to have a huge impact on climate change, but are going to impact the American food supply or the global food supply. So why are they doing it?
Well, they've sold out to extreme environmentalists, and they're at the UN. They've been infiltrated the Biden administration, and they are trying to institute extreme policies aimed at changing the way the U.S. consumer eats their food and the agriculture industry behind it. The ag industry has been the target of environmentalist chagrin for a long time, and the Biden administration has sold out for political purposes, and so they are now doing their bidding, and it's the farmers that will suffer, and we, the American people, who will be dealt more shortages and higher costs on top of Bidenflation and high gas and all of the other problems that we've been experiencing in Biden's America.
Listen, I think it's something different. I think it's that if you control food, you control people, and that's what they want to have is control over people. And you look at what's happening in the Netherlands, you look at what happened in Sri Lanka. I mean, the fact that they implemented these policies and they had a 30 to 50% reduction in crop output, people started starving, and it was a revolution to take out the prime minister.
Well, certainly, it seeks to political turmoil. It leads to famine. That's what you saw in Sri Lanka. Potentially, Ghana is on the verge of having that type of turmoil and unrest next. And again, it goes to the point. It's the climate policies that they embrace that are the cause of these problems, not climate change. That is mild and manageable. We have the technology to deal with it, and we have people who know how to work with the planet. The farmers are the original environmentalists. This administration should be working with them, and nationally, the United Nations should be looking to work with farmers instead of trying to shut them down.
Mandy, I have 20 seconds. I think that you have all of these lifers in the EPA, and they're protected by the union. You come in as a chief of staff, get a new president, you can't change the policies. Is the true answer to get rid of the union and gut these agencies of these corrupt liberal crazies?
Absolutely. We need a reformation at the agencies, and that's going to require a significant purge. And there's tools available to a president willing to embrace them to do that.
100%. Mandy, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it.